Hallo Freunde der analogen Unterhaltung und jetzt willkommen zu einer Sonderepisode hier in unserem Stream. Haben wir glaube ich gar nicht so richtig angekündigt, weil es sich erst gestern ergeben hat. Scott von Boardgamegeek ist nämlich bei mir. Natürlich müssen wir das Interview in Englisch führen, aber ja, ich denke, er kommt da schon mit. So Scott, hello, welcome in our stream. It's very a pleasure.
Glad to be here. Yeah.
That's great. Of course, we want to talk about Boardgamegeek.
Sure.
Actually, I'm of course also a Boardgamegeek user, but as a user, as a normal user, you don't really kind of understand the system behind it or how it kind of works together. So maybe you can introduce yourself and say what's your position and what's your thing with Boardgamegeek, and it's quite a lot.
Okay. I'll try to go quickly. It's
okay.
A lot. So I started Boardgamegeek in 2000. I'm the founder of Boardgamegeek.
Okay.
And I've been working on it since then.
Yeah.
In 2005, I quit my day job. I was a video game programmer, and I quit to go to work for Boardgamegeek full time. So now, 2016. So really 11 years of full time work. So I'm basically the programmer, businessman, entrepreneur. I do accounting and books and all that kind of stuff. So
and have
kind
you still time to play?
Oh yeah, I wish I had more time.
Yeah.
I thought I would have more time when I quit. Working. I say working, but I'm always working now.
Yeah.
So the time is less. It's a little harder to make time for board games a lot, but I still play. And of course, come to a lot of conventions. And we do our own conventions.
Yes.
So we run those as well. As far as the website, that's just one part of it, right? We also do conventions, and we do a store. So we have a couple different things with Boardgamegeek as the name. So those are more details.
Yes, of course. How maybe you can talk a little bit of how the Boardgamegeek evolved.
Yeah.
So probably it started small.
It started small.
Everything.
So we had a couple hundred users. So back in 2000, I just had gotten into more like 1999, 1998. I started doing more gaming, and then I found out about the German games. Right, we call them German games back then.
Yeah.
Now it's more Euro games, right? But we would order games from Spielt. I don't know if you remember that store. There's a store called Spielt, and we would order $200 to $300 of games every week.
Okay.
So I was getting this big box every week of games. Like, I would just order everything. If it looked cool, I would just, even in Germany, like I didn't know what it was about. If it looked cool, I would buy it.
That's the spirit.
Right. So I was over at my friend's house, and he said, "Oh, I heard that game's not good." And I'm like, "Oh, how did you hear?" He's like, "Oh, well, I'm on this mailing list." And the mailing, I'm like, "What mailing list?" The email. And he's like, "Oh, it's private." I said, "It's private? Why is it private? I want to look at it." He goes, "Oh, I'll try to get you in, right?" So I got into the mailing list, and it's a private invitation. It's not secret. But there was years and years and years of information about German games and other Euro games. And I was like, wow, all this information is secret. Or not secret, but hidden. You couldn't go look at it.
Yeah.
Right? It's all kind of hidden behind a private invitation system. So I was like, well, I was looking around for the web for all kinds of stuff, and there just wasn't a lot of information. So I'm like, you know what, I'm a programmer, and I had made websites before. I actually had a video game website in the 90s. And I said, I'll make a board game website. So that's how it started. And what we would do is the games in our collection, we would type in at the database and start giving them categories and, keeping track of who the designers were and the publisher. And that's how it kind of all grew. Eventually, we started keeping track of the ratings so people could go and rate games. We also created the forums, right, where people can post rules questions or type session reports where they talk about how the game played. I don't know if you've seen the session reports. Also reviews, and then images were next, and then videos and files like the translations, because back then there was no English rules. The games from Cosmos and Ravensburger would never have English rules. So we would Google Translate, you would type the word and be like, translate, and then write each sentence, because we didn't know German. So that was like
cool.
The old days, right?
Yeah. That was the old
I actually
days.
translated a Queen game called Die Magia von Pangea. You know that one?
No,
it's an old Queen game. Yeah. So I actually translated that. And I'm like, that's too much work. So, anyway.
Maybe you can talk a little bit about the system you have with the user-generated content and the Geek Gold. Because it's my personal perspective that if you're a new user, it's a little hard to kind of understand the system behind it and how it works.
There's a lot of things, you know, it wasn't all created in one time, so it evolved over time. Yeah. And there was a point where we were like, well, we want people to upload pictures of the games that don't have pictures, right? Yeah. So we would offer these Geek Gold bounties. Yeah. And Geek Gold is a currency that you can use on the Board Game Geek system to buy like avatars or micro badges or all these little, you know, make your profile look cooler. Yeah. And so people would upload pictures or files and get Geek Gold as a reward. So it's kind of like a little reward for doing that. And people can give Geek Gold and trade Geek Gold for games sometimes. And so it's kind of just this little virtual currency that was just kind of a silly idea. And it kind of just took a lot of the little silly ideas on Board Game Geek just have taken off, right? Like a lot of people use the Geek List now for mat trades. Like that was invented on Board Game Geek. The auctions, and you know, there's a lot of little inventions that came from Board Game Geek that, you know, a lot of people use now. Such as the mat trade they had here. They had like 200 people with 1,000 games trading. So big.
Crazy.
They, last year they created a flash mob. So they had to move it because it would block all the Galleria. And everybody got mad. The food vendors, they were like, oh, you can't do that. And the Haribo was blocked, so we had to move it outside.
Cool. Maybe you can talk a little bit about how the situation is, or this would be my interest, with, of course, Board Game Geek is the biggest website about board games in the US, but also worldwide. Because in Germany, we have several kind of database websites about board games. There are several big sites, but there's not one site. Yeah, you know. So how's the situation in the US? Is really like you have no competition, so you're really kind of this site, or how did this happen?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, we just created this website. I think the fact that I programmed it all and made it exactly what I wanted it. Like every day I would wake up and be like, well, what do I want to have today? No code. Since I can code and program and do all that stuff, and I work on it full time.
And you still do,
Yeah, and I have another program employee. And so we're constantly evolving to what we want it to be. And I think a lot of people don't have that time or knowledge to. I'm not saying they're stupid or anything, like they don't know how to program, but I get in there and I make it exactly how I want it. Whereas a lot of stuff on the internet is just, well, I take this system and I make a website. And you don't code your own custom things. So I've been able to cater to I'll say the geeks, right, where they want to keep track of everything with their collection, or trade games, like there's a trading system, there's a marketplace, there's lots of integrated functions that make it very useful as a board game hobbyist. And so there's no other websites that do that. Right?
That's right.
That I'm aware of. Maybe I don't really know.
And connected to this question, have you anything in mind with several languages content? I mean, for us as a perspective, of course, we're doing video content in German. Of course, we post on your Board Game Geek as well. So if a user kind of selects a German video, he can find it. But there's no option kind of for switch to German content or switch to Spanish content or what?
It's something I always think about when I come to Spiel, because I know so many people just speak German. They don't really speak English. I mean, they speak English, but they don't like to surf the web in English. They don't like to watch English videos, but they're very interested in board games. So I've thought about trying how to do it, right? Since I've written everything in English, it's a big work to we call it localization. And I want to do it. It's a hard problem, and I don't have the programmers to do it all, the work. You know, like a lot of people think we're like this big company, and we're really only a few people. So we're, people are like, well, why don't your search engine better? Why don't you do it like Google? And I'm like, Google is a multi-billion dollar industry with thousands of employees. I have one programmer employee. I mean, I think we do our best. We try to. But I think a lot of people just think, oh, you're so big, you can do it better, you know. But sometimes we try, you know. We want to make everything as good as it can be, and including having other languages. But you know, like I said, resources and money and time, really.
Speaking about money, of course, you also do regular yearly funding.
Yeah, we're about to start that.
How important is this for you?
It's pretty important. Like, you know, as the site gets popular, cost of computers, bandwidth, employees, it all increases, right? And cost of living, everything, it just keeps getting more expensive. So it is a significant part of our way to make the site profitable and also be able to run every year, right? Like it's important. So we appreciate all the user support, and if they donate, we don't say donate, say support. It's not a donation. We
know this problem as well, because we also do our own campaigns, of course. Yeah.
So if you support the site, you get micro badges. Yeah. You also get the ability to turn the ads off, advertisement.
Okay.
And sometimes people like that. Although I think our advertisements are really great. We try to sell as many direct board game ads as we can. Yeah. So you won't hopefully get too many weird ads like Google ads and things like that. But we're about to start it, so and hopefully we'll have a good successful year with that.
Then maybe the topic live streaming. Of course, you do a lot of live streaming. It is here, of course, on Gen Con, on your own conventions. How important is this? And also the question, you switched to Twitch. Maybe you can talk a little about this. We're also on Twitch, of course, but you too now. So what's the story about that?
I'll start with live streaming. Like, so this is our 9th year, or no, 7th year at Spiel. So we started in 2009. We had one little stick webcam, you know, a little Logitech with the ball. Yeah. You know, and had that on the table, and we were like, why don't we just live stream? Okay, we'll do it, and that's where it started. So, and then I think it's important because a lot of people can't come to the show. Yeah. And it really, there's so many games here.
And also a lot of your community from the US, of course, it's super expensive to come.
Yeah, it's thousands of dollars to travel over here. Yeah. So we wanted to give people what it's like to see the games like right at the show. And a 5-minute demo is really, like that's how when we walk around, we don't get to play the whole game. We just get to check it out and be like, well, do you want to buy it? Here's, you know, 40 bucks, 40 euros, whatever, right? So that was kind of like the goal of it. And also to just cover some of the games that won't be seen, right? Like a lot of games will not come to America.
Yeah. They only will be here.
Yeah, they will mostly be here.
Yes.
They may never get
Yes. That's the beauty of it.
There's lots of little interesting games that, and this year is crazy. There's like
super crazy.
Yes,
super crazy. I mean, dude, can you cover everything, every new game? No.
Not possible.
Possible for us as well, of course. Yeah, but you still stream a little bit longer. I think you have.
We stream from 10 in the morning till 7. Every day. Yeah. And then Eric Martin, who's our news editor, he takes a mobile camera and also records more that we upload to YouTube after. And the reason we switched to Twitch is they're doing more board gaming content, and they want people to broadcast board game content. So I think if you're looking to start like playing board games live on the internet, Twitch is the right place to be because they will support the community that's going to build up. Right? I mean, YouTube is great. We use Livestream as well, like it's a pay service, but they don't have a community. Moderate manager or whatever. You know, Twitch is very concerned about making sure the community is happy.
Yes. The chat is also better.
The chat is cool. Yeah, the chat is good when you play back the videos. You get to see the chat like replay. It's
so the place to be.
And it's a free system.
Yes, of course. Yes, we have questions in the chat. We're talking about the chat now. Questions.
Yes. Hello, chat.
The finish of the new design.
I wish I knew. So we redesigned the site. We call it the game page. Like when you go to a game, you see that page. We redesigned it using Angular, which is a Google product. We have to rewrite it, unfortunately, because it's too slow on mobile phone. Older mobile phones. The new ones work okay. So we're rewriting that. We're also working on designing all the other systems, right?
Yeah, because now when you get there and click on an image, it switches back and stuff like that, yes?
It's our priority right now. We're working on it. Like the programmer and the designer back home, they're working on it this week while I'm here. So when I get back home, we're going to really push hard. And then it'll be like what we did with the game page. We'll release pieces, and eventually it'll all come together. I don't know the good time frame. Like back in the day when I first started, I could finish stuff in 1 to 2 days.
Yeah.
I could write stuff so quick, right? Boom, boom, boom. But it was very dirty and messy
Yeah.
because I was the only programmer.
Yeah.
Now we try to make it a little cleaner, which takes more time,
Yeah.
more effort, because
Yeah, it's more organized and other people
and you can have
understand
other
and stuff.
people-
Yes, yes.
We can have other people look at the code. And it's slow. It's a little bit of a slow process. So
Okay.
I apologize for that, but I do want it to be done as soon as I can, as soon as possible.
Other question? How many?
Let's
Exactly.
see. I have one programmer, a community manager, news guy.
Eric.
Eric.
Thumbs up.
Yep. Who am I forgetting? 1, 2, 3, 4. Me. And Chad. I think it's 5.
And a lot of freelancers and helpers,
Yeah,
of course.
a couple freelancers. We have someone running the convention, helping with the convention. So.
Okay. I have another question. Maybe not some. What? One more? Nochmal? Also Einfluss der Spieleindustrie? Oh, heute muss man ein bisschen lauter reden. Ja.
Wie da Paid Rankings verhindert.
Ah, okay. Ja. Okay. Ja. Difficult question.
Yes.
Do you have? How do you handle the problem of maybe influence from the industry on ratings and on stuff like that? Have you any system or any take on that? Is this a problem?
We have some systems. I keep it secret.
Of course.
Proprietary, and I don't want someone to figure it out and be like, oh, I know how to break the rankings or something like that.
Yeah.
But we take it seriously. Like, we say you can rate a game for any reason. Like,
Yeah.
if someone goes in there and rates 100 games a 1, right? The
Yeah.
worst rating, and
Yeah.
where 1 is low and 10 is high, right?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But there are certain things that we do for calculations that may not, that person may not be calculated in the vote.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I won't reveal why. But, so we try to keep it, we want somebody to take participation in the website
Yeah.
on a daily basis or weekly basis. They come back, visit, update their rankings, and keep it up to date and rate new things, right?
Yeah.
And that's a big part of it. So if you rate games and continue and interact with the website, and like the new games, you rate the new games, you rate the old games, like be participation in the site, that's the best thing.
Okay.
So.
Okay. One more? 2 more.
Yeah. Yes.
Plans for Essen?
Yeah.
Right. So we
Games
have,
room.
Oh
Yes.
gosh, that-
Maybe first explain what the games room
Yeah,
was.
so we had, Gen Con called me, wrote me, not called, a week before Gen Con, one week,
That's good.
and said, hey, we have this big room,
It's empty.
ballroom, it's empty. Do you want to use it? And I was like, okay, we'll figure out what to do. So we wrote to all the companies that are, we're friends with, and said, hey, can you give us games, and we'll put them all in a room, and we'll do the hot games room at Gen Con. And they're like, yeah.
And how it worked? So there were games? And
There was like 300 games in the hot games room, just about 2 of every single game at Gen Con.
Okay.
And you could buy tickets to come in. That wasn't our idea. Like, I would make it free if it was up to me. But Gen Con requires that you pay tickets for,
that's their system.
for events.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's their system.
Every event requires a ticket?
Yeah, it's $2 for 1 hour.
Yeah.
And so we sold tickets. The first day, lots of people came. And then it sold out every day after that.
Okay.
So it's very popular. We're not sure if we're doing it again. Maybe.
Okay.
And they were saying, he was saying, should we do it at Essen?
Here, yes.
I think it
Any
would be
plan?
awesome to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it, though. We would have to get a hotel.
Yeah, probably it's really the question is the space. Yeah,
Right.
that's
like,
really
like
the problem.
people don't really realize Spiel is for buying games.
Yeah, and
You don't-
also
yeah.
Spiel is a trade fair. So the space is hugely expensive, not because of Spiel, but because of the
Messe,
fair
yeah.
Essen. You know, everything is expensive at fairs because it's huge halls, huge organization, security, whatever. So every inch counts into the calculation.
That
So-
being said, it would be really cool. This
Yeah.
is just a crazy idea.
Yeah.
Just get the whole hotel, like one of the hotels
Yes.
here, and just book it with the gamers, like the geeks, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And sell tickets. Obviously, you have to
Yeah,
make sure it's
yeah,
valuable.
That would be great.
And then you get all the games, and you just take them to that hotel and play like every night.
Yeah.
And then maybe even
Maybe we should do it-
even a few days before.
We should do it at Atlantic Hotel, right? Yeah,
Oh, the
right
Atlantic
where the
Hotel would be
newer
awesome.
entrance is at
That would be
Brand.
cool. Unfortunately, I don't know if we could. That's a busy
that's
hotel,
it.
right?
That's
It would have
it.
to be a hotel that might be a little further away.
Yeah, but that would be
That's a
great
very-
because it's like, you know.
Oh gosh, that would be so awesome. Yeah, that would be cool.
That'd be cool. Do you hear Atlantic?
I know. Yeah. We'll just take every room. We'll book all the rooms.
Yes.
Right? And then we'll just fill that back hall with games. And then you could go, like if you get tired here, you can just go
Yes.
play games.
Yeah.
Oh my
That would
gosh,
be
that'd
great.
a dream. Yeah. Yes.
How do you want to go on with what you say? What is the vision in 5 years?
5 years.
5 years vision.
My 5-year
of
vision?
budget, yeah. Of
Well,
course, the
obviously, I want to
redesign
redesign.
must
oh my
be.
gosh, I have to finish that. There's some other things we want to do. One of the things I want to redo is the auctions.
Yes.
A lot of people run auctions, and it's kind of it's not very ideal, right?
No.
That's a big thing. We also want to integrate the local game stores more. So if you come on BGG and you're looking at a game, you might see on the screen that, hey, you can buy this game at that store that's near you.
Not only at Amazon.
Right, not just online, but
Yeah.
also online is important too because a lot of
Yeah,
people
yeah.
don't live near
Yeah.
game stores. I also want to kind of make since the hobby's growing, or more people, add some more tools into more social, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't really know each other but we could interact more on the site.
Yeah.
And there's some visions that I have about organizing game nights, using some tools on the website, like which game should we play, those kinds of things. Sort of like a meetup integration with the board games as well. Those are some of the future plans. I had some ideas about crowdfunding projects maybe on BGG because a lot of board games are crowdfunding on Kickstarter,
Yeah.
but they come through BGG and then
Yeah.
they go off. So
Yeah.
that's a very
That's
maybe-
a crazy idea,
it's a
but
crazy idea.
yes, there's
But you gotta think-
there's actually some equivalent in German, this
Yeah.
Spieleschmiede, which is kind of an
Spieleschmiede, yeah.
own platform about.
creating games.
Yeah, so
I would like
it
to do it.
could
too.
work.
It might
Yeah.
it would be a lot
Yeah.
different than Kickstarter. It would be
Yeah.
more integrated into BGG. So that's an idea. Also, we're moving our convention. We're growing it.
Yeah.
So that's in 2 years.
Okay.
So we got a lot of stuff happening. Oh, we have also the cruise, but that's new. So it would be cool to have a whole cruise ship of gamers.
Yes,
right?
that would be great.
Yeah. So we have lots of things.
Still one question?
Hopefully.
But then I have my last
Some
question.
Yeah.
Your most favorite game you like?
The most favorite game of Scott Alden.
My favorite game is Tigris and Euphrates. Or
I
Euphrates
guess
and
yeah,
Tigris.
Rainer
right?
Knizia, right?
Rainer Knizia. So that changed my life. When I played that game, I was like,
You
wow.
became a board game
I
geek.
became a geek. I also played Settlers. That was cool.
Yeah.
And that made me find more German games. But when
Yeah.
I played Tigris and Euphrates, I was like, wow, this is cool. And that's what kind of inspired me to learn more about the games and like put them on, make a website. Yes. Well, the first, I don't know if they're my top, but these are the games I'm going to play the first when I get home. First game is A Feast for Odin.
Yes, yes, of course.
What was the second game?
Fest für Odin von Rosenberg.
Yep. I really want to play The Oracle of Delphi, which is Stefan Feld.
Stefan Feld, Orakel von Delphi.
Let's see, a third one.
Two heavyweights.
Those are too heavy. Let me think of something lighter. Oh, Toria.
Sorry?
Toria from Hook.
Okay, okay.
You know, it's Inca and Marcus
Yes,
Brand
yes.
with Michael
Yeah,
Liedek.
talk, yeah.
Did you say
Thomas.
Mikael or Michael? Michael Rinnick?
Michael Rieneck.
Michel Rinnick and Inca and Marcus Brand.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
cool.
Okay.
Those names are like Michael Rinnick is one of my favorite
Okay.
board game
okay.
designers. He's underrated.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't.
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
not one of those guys you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh my
not
god.
like- yeah.
But he's got. You could check out.
Michael
his games.
Rieneck, yeah? Scott hat es euch gesagt.
Yep.
I have a last question
Yep.
about the Geek Bus,
Yeah.
which is of course a big thing here in Essen.
Yep.
Maybe you can talk a little bit how it works, also with the ability to get this mobile thing.
Yeah. So
How-
we switched it to mobile now. You can use your phone on the car. You get a card when you come to our booth, and you get a code. You type the code in, and you can. We call it like games, like Buzz. You
Yeah.
just click the like. We used to have rating 1 to 5,
Yeah.
but we found that that brought out too much negativity.
Yeah.
I sat there and watched someone click 1
One,
on every single game. I'm like, what? Why don't
Yeah.
you just click the games you like? And that was when I'm
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, we'll switch it.
Yeah.
So it counts up the number of likes and it makes it a list. It's just for fun.
Yeah.
Some people take it a little seriously,
Yeah.
but it's just a list of games that people are really interested in.
Yeah, but it's very useful because all the
There's
time
so many
people
games,
come here
yeah.
to you as well. So what kind of games I should look at? Do you have any idea? And most of the time, we and maybe you, we are so busy we can't kind of give the best tips because I have to play the games
It's
first.
hard to think
Yeah.
too. Like on
but
the spot,
the
you're like,
community,
oh, what's the best game? You're like,
Yeah.
oh, I've seen 50
yeah,
games. I
yeah,
don't know.
it's super difficult. But the community has some knowledge and
Yeah.
can get it into the
And you
system.
know, we only rank them because that's life, right?
Yeah,
but
of
all
course.
those games are interesting. Like
Yeah.
they're not, even though it's down at the bottom, check out. Yeah, gives you something to check out. And then if you like those games, you'll find other stuff.
So Scott, thank you so much. That was super
thank you for
interesting.
having me on.
Yes. So
And it's great to meet you. And
Yes.
I love this the streaming here.
cool. So, das war Scott von Boardgamegeek. Ja, vielen Dank fürs Zuhören und vielen Dank für die tollen Fragen im Chat. Ich hoffe, wir haben sie alle beantworten können. Wir machen jetzt noch mal eine kurze Pause und dann geht es noch mal weiter mit normalem Stream hier und neuen Spielen. Bis dann, ja. Ciao.
Ciao.
Thank you.